You got my back? I got your back. You got my back? I got your back. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, this is Tony Mitchell coming at you with another segment of Championship Mindset Conversations on the road to greatness. I was just telling this young man over here, he's the tallest gentleman who has been in this studio. Ben O'Connor. Ben, I've known Ben since he was probably about 12 years old.
87, 88.
Yeah.
1987, 88.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, I think back to when I met Ben. Ben was a three-sport athlete. Ben was playing everything at Keystone Oaks. He was playing baseball, basketball, football. And the thing I always liked about Ben is Ben was always passionate. He was a worker, and he had a tremendous personality at a young age. And I'm looking at him now. He still has that same personality, even though he's got kids and he's been a teacher for 20 years, plus years.
About that, 20, yes.
Okay.
But if you include all my time before teacher working at the Allegheny Academy and for Craig House, it's been about 24 years.
Okay, and that seems so crazy thinking about it. We were talking off camera about some of the guys that he played against at Chartiers Valley, because I was at Chartiers Valley coaching baseball, basketball, and football, and Ben was at Keystone Oaks. So they were rivals. But it was crazy because the guys were friends outside of the school. They were like, Quentin Purnell, Aaron Tate, Brian Walsh,
Steve Speck, Art McCray.
Yes. I was just with Art and Quentin. We watched the Steeler game at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Art's good people.
Art's good people. Art's good people. But the thing that's amazing is Pittsburgh is so much smaller than what people think it is. Everybody knows somebody who knows somebody.
Yep. Everybody.
So Ben, I want you to tell us in your own words, what age were you when you really fell in love with baseball?
Baseball was my first love. It was Little League at some point, and I'd say maybe it was like the second year of like real Little League baseball.
Okay.
And the light bulb came on.
Okay.
I had a coach that showed me a thing or two, and all of a sudden it started to make sense, and I began to enjoy it and was pretty good at it.
Okay.
It came kind of easy at that point, and baseball was always my best sport.
Okay.
From the time I was young to I was older, and it came easy. I was big and strong and fluid. Uh-huh. Basketball and football things sort of came later on. I was a late bloomer in those sports. But, baseball was my first love.
Okay.
And ironically, though, I ended up going to college for basketball and played baseball. Too. But baseball was always the better sport, but basketball was the one that paid for my education. So,
okay.
But sports has been great to me.
That's a unique thing for me to hear, because I was football and baseball in high school at Westinghouse. And Westinghouse was known for football. Always known for football, but I love baseball. And everybody would be like, why are you so excited to get to spring? I'm like, man, I love baseball. I still remember the smell of the white chalk line and, batting lead off and
smell of the new ball.
Yeah.
The smell of your glove.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different smell.
Yes. Yes. And, I got my Pirate gear on, even though the Pirates have disappointed us. We were baseball fans. We were talking off camera, and
it's a whole different segment.
Yeah.
We could spend a whole year talking about our disappointment with the Pirates.
At some point, we are going to talk about that.
All right.
At some point, we're going to definitely talk about that. But I love baseball probably more than any sport, because to me, it's the ultimate team sport. And it's also a way to challenge yourself as an individual. When you're in the batter's box, it's you versus the pitcher. You don't have to worry about the offensive line or play was called or somebody setting the screen in basketball. It's you versus him.
Yep, one-on-one in a team game.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen at that level like that. Basketball, you got one-on-one. Football, there's one-on-one, but it's still within the team concept.
Yep.
Baseball, it's you're singled out in the spotlight, one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sometimes can be a tough thing 4 kids.
Yeah, yeah.
But I love it. I mean, there's nothing like baseball.
Nothing like it, man.
It is funny how life comes full circle, though, because I said baseball was my first love, but then I was more known for basketball in the middle of my career. Had more potential in baseball, but as life has come full cycle, now it's, even though I'm a basketball coach, I'm enjoying coaching youth baseball more. A lot of that has to do with my son, which we'll talk about later.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, the thing that I've always loved about you is you were always able to be energetic and to lead by example. You were never one of these people that followed the crew. I remember when I first met you, and I'm like, man, he's different, man. He's a big dude, but he's a gentle giant, you know, and he's the type of guy that gets respect everywhere he goes. You know, if you mention Ben O'Connor, people go, oh, man, yeah, I know Ben. Ben's a good guy. Ben's athletic. Ben's... Certain folks, you mention their name, and it's like, it's different. It's a different vibe. But you've always been that positive, energetic leader. Where do you attribute that part of your personality?
My upbringing. I had 2 great parents, mom and a dad, loved me and cared for me. And they were it wasn't the same kind of upbringing as a lot of other people. I mean, they were always around. And even though my dad played for the New York Yankees, he wasn't a crazy parent. And he coached me, but it was hands-off, though, at a point where once I got to be a teenager, he let the other coaches take control. But they instilled passion and showing up on time and working hard and listening to your coach and just being a good teammate. And I think that just trickled down through my high school career and into college and and into coaching. And it's just something I've always had.
I love the fact that you have taken your experiences as a player and as a father into your coaching career. And you are a high school guidance counselor at Fox Chapel Area School District. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been a high school guidance counselor now for 16 years. 12 of those have been at Fox Chapel. 14 have been at Fox Chapel. 2 were at Bethel Park.
Okay.
I actually left FC to take a job at Bethel, and then went back to Fox Chapel.
Okay.
Greatest job in the world.
I hear you. I can remember when I started my business. I started a business called Athletes Fitness Inc., and it kind of morphed into all that I'm doing now. Competitive edge training business, and Ben was the head coach at Fox Chapel. Ben was kind enough to give me an opportunity to kind of showcase what we do in the preseason, and we went to Fox Chapel, and I ended up doing basketball, girls and boys, and doing some football conditioning and stuff. But it was because Ben gave me that opportunity to do that. I greatly appreciate that, and I look back at that. That was pretty much the beginning of a lot of good things.
Well, in the 4 years that we worked with you at Fox Chapel, I mean, knock on wood, kids didn't get hurt. Their bodies stayed in good shape. They had a lot of confidence coming out of the fall and working with you, and their bodies looked good. And our kids stayed healthy. We were very lucky. We had a great, successful run there, and a lot of that had to do with our star players staying healthy and working with the bands with you and working in the gym and working in the weight room.
It was fun, man. I can look back on that, and I can remember it was you, Zach Scringer, and who else was on your staff?
Jerry Susie.
Jerry Susie. Okay.
And then Jeremy.
Jeremy was the girls coach. Jeremy Bennett.
And you would, put the time in with the girls while we'd be doing basketball stuff in the other gym, and then we'd flip.
Yep.
But our kids loved it. And as a young basketball player, you get a little intimidated when you're that skinny, long kid about getting in the weight room with the big weights with the football team. So we were able to work with you where it was just them, and you had creative and cool ways of getting them bigger and stronger without throwing up a ton of weight.
Yes.
And they were able to feel a little good about the buff in their chest.
Yes.
And all of a sudden they had some bumps on their arms.
Yes. It was a blast for me because Fox Chapel was the first district to kind of give me an opportunity. I had a building up in Penn Hills, and we had Catlin Christian, Shayla Scott.
You had Brian Dapper at one point.
Yes, Brian Dapper.
One of my players at Keystone Oaks.
Brian Dapper, that's a name from the past. Brian Dapper and Greg Dapper, right? Greg was older.
Greg was he was a year older.
Yes.
Greg was the quarterback.
Yes.
He played at Temple.
Yes.
And then Cal U. And Brian was the wide receiver.
Brian was so athletic.
one of the greatest athletes I coached all around.
I mean, I can just remember some of the things that he just did naturally with running, jumping.
No expression in his face
No.
either.
No.
He'd score 30 and you'd never know it.
Yeah.
In football, he was a great receiver, great athlete, but it came easy to him. He was just effortless.
He was special, man. He was special.
He was. He's now coaching in the youth program I run now with his little ones.
Okay. So I'm going to have to come over and see you.
You will.
So I can see my man.
Well, you can get your son over there too.
Absolutely. I got to bring him over. We do everything in segments at Championship Mindset. First segment was a breeze. I told you, Ben, it's no problem. Smooth. We're coming right back with you in 1 minute. Hey, this is Tony Mitchell coming back at you. Championship Mindset, conversations on the road to greatness. This is our second segment with young Ben O'Connor. I can call him young because I'm a little bit older than Ben. We are going to get into talking about bloodlines. We're talking off camera about Clay Matthews, Bruce Matthews, Clay Sr., and Pittsburgh in general has a lot of family bloodlines. Ben has a son, Donovan, who I call my client. I'm claiming him on camera.
You got him.
He is a tremendous young man. He's 9 years old now?
He is 4th grade, yes.
Okay.
At Dormont Elementary School.
Okay. Donovan loves basketball and baseball, but Donovan has a unique bloodline coming from your dad, and then you have somebody else too, right? Was it an uncle or?
What? I got a lot of people, but baseball-wise, it's just my pops. My dad played in the Yankee system.
Tell me about how that has impacted Donovan and you, the bloodlines from.
Well, the coolest part about it all is Donovan's very talented. He's a big, strong, athletic, good kid. But he has grown this love for baseball, and ironically, it's what my dad played. So it's kind of given my dad, myself, and my son an opportunity to kind of be together in a different, father-son, grandfather moment where, games where I'm coaching my son and my dad's watching, or games where I'm sitting with my dad watching my son. And I know he gets a kick out of it. He loves it. Both my dad and my son. And my son loves impressing me, but he loves impressing his grandfather.
There's a legacy there.
There's a legacy. And, and as my son has gotten older and is starting to understand more about the game itself and the New York Yankees, and, he loves Aaron Judge, and he loves Giancarlo Stanton.
That's what I call him, by the way. I call Donovan young Aaron Judge.
and to say, well, wow, Pat played for the New York Yankees. So then, and my dad wouldn't talk much about the Yankees. He's a real humble guy. He's quiet.
Yep.
So we go on the internet and we're able to pull stuff up, and it was like, oh wow, he played against Dave Parker, who played for the Pirates. He played against Jim Rice, who played for the Red Sox, and now he looks at my dad as like this hero. It's different now.
Yes.
So last week we're playing a game out at Findlay.
Okay.
And my dad gets to the game a little bit late. I'm worried he's not going to make it in time. And first 2 times up, Donovan walks.
Okay.
Last time up, I batted him 6th, which I never do, just to be fair. It's a community fall program.
Right.
But it's bases loaded. We're down 5-2. There's 2 outs. And he hit one
Crushed
into the trees in the center field. But my dad was there, and and my dad's the one that doesn't really show much emotion, from the outside, but I could see how cool it was to him.
Yeah.
And to go see him after the game, and my son holding the ball and take a picture, it's a priceless moment.
Yes.
And baseball has brought that to us. And my son will call my dad after the games to kind of give him a play-by-play of how he did if my dad's not there. And,
it's a connection.
It is.
Those bloodlines and everything are all connected now.
In the bloodline, like my mom, who has been with my dad since 8th grade.
Okay.
So while my dad was playing in the minor leagues, she was there with him. So when she watches Donovan play, she's, I see a lot of your dad in him. It's bringing back memories of when you were young, but I see a lot of your dad. Because I could pitch. Yes. But Donovan can hit. And that's something I could do when I was young, but he looks different. But, it's been the coolest thing ever. And as you know, as a dad, watching your kids succeed and do it the right way,
it's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. And the passion is there. We talk about it in championship mindset all the time. Passion, purpose, and pride.
I don't push him. I don't have to.
No.
He pushes himself, and I always say, you ask me and I'll do it for you. There's a time he might need a little bit of encouragement, but my 2 older children love it.
Tell me about your 2 older children.
Well, Delaney is my 7th grader.
Okay.
She's like me in that she's a late bloomer in a lot of things, but she's an athlete. She loves it. It's been huge for her self-confidence. As a young first grader in kindergarten, her academic grades weren't great, real shy. And with the start of softball and basketball, little by little, she's come out of her shell. And I'm biased, but she's a beautiful young woman now, or becoming a beautiful young woman.
Yes.
But sports has been a huge part of that. And she's really good, but she might not be where some other kids are at this point. But give her a couple years. She's tough.
She got some bloodlines, too.
She got some bloodlines. But she listens, and she's a good team player, too.
Okay.
My youngest one, most talented in the family.
Okay.
She might need some pushing, though.
What's her name?
Tenley.
Okay.
And she and Tenley is in 3rd grade.
Okay.
She's got the most ability by far.
Okay.
She can run, she can jump, she can hit, she can shoot. She just doesn't love it the way the other 2 do yet.
Okay.
But I think it's the light bulb's starting to flicker.
Okay. The thing that I remember, because we kind of follow each other on Instagram and Facebook,
Yes,
is the one day you went to pick up your daughter from school and she didn't know it was you. And she's coming up towards the vehicle, and then she recognized as she got closer to the vehicle that it was you. Her reaction was priceless.
and I filmed it, and I didn't think it was going to be like that, but she ran and jumped in the car. I'm glad I filmed it, 'cause I'll have that forever.
Oh man, that was special. That was special. I remember that because it's like you don't see that every day in today's society. There's conflict at home. Kids fighting the parents, and parents trying to get the kids to do the right thing. But you guys, you and your wife Amy,
Yes,
have just created a culture at your house where there's 2-way communication, there's respect, and there are expectations. And that's what I talk to parents about all the time in our programming. Expectations drive kids to be great. If there are no expectations, then they just kind of follow their friends or whatever the trend is. Tell me a little bit about some of the things that you guys have in place at your home.
Well, you're talking about bloodlines. My parents, the things they put in place with us, and the things my wife's parents put in place. It's blue collar, show up on time, work hard, do the right thing, don't swear. When you do make a mistake, own up to it. And I think those are the same things we're trying to put into our kids' lifestyles and our kids' ways. And I wish they would listen with the chores. I always did my chores. But our kids are getting better at that. But as far as just the open communication, and that's where my wife is the best. Where we both kind of play off each other and being good cop, bad cop. Because even when you love, you still got to be hard at times.
Absolutely.
You got one shot to be a dad, one shot to be a mom.
That's right.
But with my kids, and all 3 are awesome, but it's just you got to handle everyone different.
It's almost like coaching.
It's you got Antonio Brown, you got Ben Roethlisberger, and you got Andrew Villanueva. But you got all 3 kids need loving.
Yes.
Some tougher than others at different times. But it's the stuff that was instilled to us growing up with my mom and dad, and having them both around nonstop was huge. And my in-laws are the same way. The way they were with their kids.
Right.
And my wife, when she's losing it, I'm the calm one. And I don't lose it too often, but when I do lose it,
she brings you back.
She's got to.
You guys play off each other.
Yeah, we can't be the crazy ones at the same time.
See, the thing that's great about that is everybody that has kids and they have a significant other, they have to find a way to be good cop, bad cop. You have to find a way to play off of each other, because if you don't, it really doesn't have the effectiveness with your kids. Since you coached all these different years, you had people on your staff that was good cop, bad cop, and different kids need different motivation. So I always say that coaching made me a better parent. Absolutely. Because you see so many different things. How do you feel about that?
Well, in my time as a coach, and I became a head coach when I was 21, where it was all rah-rah, and it was like the football stuff, where it was the pounding the chest and playing music and to get them pumped up. But as you get older, that stuff only works for so long.
Right.
And we won a lot of games on energy and whatnot, but the kids, 12 games into the season, you're doing the same things over and over. You got to, like, save those moments for the right time.
Yes.
So as you mature as a coach, you calm and you learn how to work it different ways, and you save those crazy moments for certain times and the pump up times, because as an employee, your boss isn't going to yell at you every day to pump you up.
Right.
But as a parent now, I think after coaching for 20 some years, as a parent, you try to stay calm, but there are times when you lose it a little bit.
Yeah.
But you never lose complete control. But they got to know
that you're serious.
Yeah, even when they're 2 and 3 years old, they run across a parking lot.
Yes.
Someone can get hurt.
Yes.
Or even worse. So you gotta be a little bit more firm.
Uh-huh.
But when they're older, in like 7th grade, it's hard, but you got to choose, and you don't want them to run from you. You want them to still come to you when they've messed up.
Exactly. And
that open lines of communication, like you said, that's
huge. You guys have found that balance, and the thing that I like about what you have developed is there's trust. And if there's no trust, kids will not come to you when there are difficult situations. So I admire parents who put in place expectations that have loyalty and trust, that two-way communication.
Well, you've got to be able to tell your kids, look, I don't want you to do A, B, and C. However, if you do, and you come to us and tell us, it will always be better.
Yes.
We will always work with you. We will always help you. But if you hide from it, if you run from it, it's only going to make matters worse.
Yes.
And it's going to be harder for us to help.
Yes.
I might not be happy if you come to me and say, Dad, I did this.
Right.
But, for example, when we started with our 7th grader, we don't want you to drink.
Yes.
We don't want you to do drugs. But
right.
if there's ever a night where something happens and
Let
you
us
call
know.
us, we will help you. And if it's a scenario where we can come and get you, we'll deal with it, and we won't lose. We might not be happy,
right,
but we won't lose our mind.
Exactly.
But if you hide it from us, that's a different story.
Right.
And
same thing you told your players.
Yeah, be upfront, be honest, do the right thing, be accountable.
Yep.
The word accountable is not used enough these days.
Yes. Yes.
But as my kids get older, I'm hoping we've been praying that we keep those lines of communications open.
That's the key, man.
If they can't come to me, then go to my wife.
Yes.
If they can't go to my wife, come to me.
Right. Or grandma.
Yeah, and we'll always work together.
Yes.
To make it work.
Yes. We do everything in segments here. Second segment is done. We will come right back at you with some more love from Ben O'Connor after this moment. Hey, this is Tony Mitchell coming back at you. Segment number 3, Championship Mindset Conversations on the Road to Greatness with young Ben O'Connor. Ben, we're going to talk a little bit about boundaries and how you grew up and your siblings, because you have 2 brothers, right? 3 brothers.
3 brothers.
You have 3 brothers. How many of your brothers coach or are involved in sports and have been involved?
My older brother, who teaches at Fox Chapel, he was an assistant at West Allegheny and Keystone Oaks for baseball for a long time. He was a head coach at Quaker Valley.
Okay.
But he's become a father, and he's kind of stepped down from coaching. The brother below me is the head coach at Erie McDowell.
Yes.
And he's been coaching. He was an assistant for me when I coached at KO. He's been coaching for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
My youngest brother, he no longer coaches. Ironically, he's the most successful out of all of us. But he played in college and then coached at Penn State Barron, and he coached for me at Fox Chapel. And then he saw the light. He got a good career and started a family. And now his kids are starting to play though, so he's going to get back in it. Yeah, as a youth coach.
So now, give me the ages.
So I'm 43. I have an older brother that's going to turn 47.
Okay.
Then I got a brother that's 4 below me at 39. That's the one that's McDowell. Okay. My youngest brother, Patrick, is he would be 3 years below that, so he's 36.
Okay. Now, everybody primarily basketball?
Older brother played hockey and played baseball at Edinboro.
Okay.
and I was everything. But the brother below me, Kevin, played basketball at Edinburgh.
Okay.
And the brother below him, Patrick, he played basketball at Westminster College.
Okay, so now who was baseball? Who was
Tom? It's TJ. He goes by Tom.
Okay.
He was a pitcher.
Okay.
He was the one that led the way for us.
Okay.
He got to deal with the wrath of my dad growing up and kind of set the way for all of us. But he had a successful career at Edinburgh.
Okay.
And he teaches English now at Fox Chapel.
And you guys are still like close.
Very close.
And that's, to me, that's what's missing in our environment. I don't know whether we don't facilitate it or we don't work on it, but I see a lot of families that are broken from the inside, not from the outside. They're broken from the inside. I don't like my cousin. I don't like my brother. I don't like... It was like when we grew up, it was similar to when you grew up. Everybody was close. Yeah. Everybody kind of fed off each other. Everybody respected each other. We helped each other. And I think we've gotten away from that because of this thing here and social media and all the other things, environmental things. We don't communicate. We were talking about it off camera. How do you feel being a counselor at the high school level that the communication has broke down over the last 10 to 12 years?
Well, this thing, having the phone, and everybody's got one in school. Everybody. And 99.9% of our problems that we deal with, whether it's bullying or just social media things, it's just problems between the kids on what they text or message or blog about each other. And it's something so small that turns into something so big in a matter of an hour or even minutes. Rumors get spread, things happen, and now you're trying to put out a fire and you don't even know where the fire started. I mean, it started somewhere with this, but it's just crazy. I mean, now, when I grew up, there were no cell phones.
No.
But there was Nintendo, there was Sega, there was Atari. We didn't have any of that. We played sports.
Yes.
But one thing I think that's missing today, and this is something we try to do with our kids, is my parents always had a sit-down dinner.
Yeah.
Even when there were crazy practices, there was still, you sat down at the dining room table and you had spaghetti.
Yes.
Before baseball, before basketball, or after. But there was always a family meal where you had to talk.
And you didn't have this at the family meal while people were, there's none of that.
And if there was, my dad would have cracked me.
Yes.
And the phone would have been put away. But whether you had a bad day or a good day, you sat with your family. And whether it was a half hour or 40 minutes, it was just, you sat and you talked. Right. How was your day? How was your day?
Right.
And people don't do that anymore.
No. There are people, Ben, that haven't actually looked into their kids' eyes for years. For years, because as soon as they get this thing, it's like, yeah, I'm talking to you, Dad. Yeah, I hear you, Dad. But, yeah, okay, all right.
You go to eat. I go to eat with my wife, and I look, and you see, like, the whole family's playing on their phone. Yeah. And then I catch my wife. It's like, put it away. And she does real estate, so she's on her phone a lot. But it's like, come on, an hour. Turn it off, put it in your pocket.
Right. We've become totally dependent on this thing. We're talking about it off camera. It is almost like crack cocaine.
It is.
Because there are times when I'm going to a meeting and I don't have my phone, and you feel naked. Like, what am I going to do without my phone?
And for what, though? I mean, really, your wife might send you a text, don't forget to pick up milk, or love you, honey. But you can get that message in an hour.
Absolutely. I always say this to my wife. I say, we're in traffic all the time, or we're doing these different things. Everybody has become like a surgeon because we're all needed in surgery. We're in a hurry, man. We're going all these different places. We're doing all these different things. We need to slow down and kind of pay attention to a family meal. Pay attention that my kid needs homework, or parents don't even know their kids are getting bullied because they don't even talk to them.
Yeah. And until the school calls, or until it's almost too late. But I mean, the other thing is, they're on this all night.
Yes.
And we have kids that are like, they're sleeping in first and second period in school. Why? Well, I was up till 4 o'clock. What were you doing? Well, I was texting somebody, or I was playing a game, or turn the phone off.
Yeah.
There are families, though, and a good friend of mine, they have a procedure where they have like this big mass family charger in the parents' bedroom. The kids come in at like 9 o'clock every day, and they just put their phone there, and they can have it at 7 a.m.
That's a great thing to have, because now your kid is not oversaturated all night with that.
Turn the electronics off.
Yeah.
Your body can't function without sleep.
No. And that's, to me, it's like a basic thing. It's a primal thing, but we kind of forget that. And I think what has happened with this thing, it's become a form of babysitting.
It is.
You know, you don't have to, like, if I'm a parent and I have 2 kids, I don't really have to interact with you. I give you a phone or an iPad. You're over there. My other kid's over here. I'm here. We don't even interact. It's just like you're doing your own thing.
Yeah, and at restaurants, like I remember with the real little one, my youngest kid, Tenley, like she'd start to act up and she would try to like get the phone. Like, no, like color with a crayon, talk to us. Something other than play on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, and when you have this, you have access to so much.
Yes.
And for a young kid to be able to just basically watch anything.
Yes.
Anything.
Yes.
They're too young for it.
Yes.
And our kids have become so numb to traumatizing things.
Yes.
And they're able to see anything and everything.
Yes.
And it's
scary.
It is. It's very scary.
It's scary. I have grandkids. I have 7 grandkids. You haven't gotten to that point yet. You got a ways to go for that. I got grandkids who come over like Bill Cosby always said. I'm in that phase now where I'm trying to get to heaven. So I'll spoil my grandkids and have them do things. And, of course, my kids will be like, he wasn't like that when he raised us. How have you seen the dynamics with your dad with his grandkids?
Not the same guy that raised me at all. And I always, but my dad mellowed out as the 4 boys grew up, his sons. And he wasn't the same dad with the youngest boys he was with the oldest. But, you watch him with my kids, and it's like, who is that guy? And I always say to Donovan, that's not the man that raised me. He did something with it. But when he does lose it, it's funny. It's like the other day, we were at a restaurant, and my son, it actually was a little bit ago, he fell off the chair, and he was, squirming around, and my dad grabbed him and was like, your dad would have done that one time in his life, and then that would have been it. He never would have done it again.
It's so funny because now you have that hierarchy. You got granddad, you got dad, you got the grandkids. And it's so crazy when you think about it, like, before you blink, you're going to be a granddad.
I'm not blinking. But our kids are lucky. They got in-laws, and they've got my parents, and they've got a lot of aunts and uncles that love them. And if you are present in your kid's life,
yes,
and if you've got other people that are present, it doesn't always have to be the mom and the dad. Hopefully it is.
Right.
But if you've got grandparents, aunts, uncles, people,
but that's the key, though. You hit the nail on the head. You have to be present.
If you're there, you can mess up, but if you're there, you're there.
Yes. Yes. And that, to me, is the biggest thing that I talk to parents. We do parental workshops. And I say, you have to be present in the account. It's like you take roll. When a teacher comes to school, kids come to class, and they take roll. Okay, well, parents don't take roll. And you need to take roll. You need to be present and accounted for every single day.
When Isaiah's playing a game, he knows when you're there.
Yes.
And it makes him feel better.
Yes.
If you had to miss, and there's reasons to miss. But if you're not there, your heart's probably broken because you want to be there.
Yes.
And you're trying to get updates. How's the game going?
Yes.
You're hoping Heidi would film it.
Yes.
But there's kids that are playing games, and the dad's not there. And it's like, he went to the Steeler game. What do you mean he went to the Steeler game?
Yeah.
Or he's just not around.
Not around. And that, to me, is the biggest issue. We have to get back to being present in our kids' lives. Because when you got a flat tire, right? You walk out to your car, you can see it. People are walking down the street anywhere. I can go anywhere. And I almost ran over a lady. She was crossing the street like this. The light was red. She didn't even know the light turned. And I'm like, how did we get to that point where this thing has changed the dynamics for everything?
It's not in my kids' hands yet. So I'm hoping to hold it off as long as I can. But it's a part. You have to. It's a part of it. It's going to be a part.
Yes.
So you just got to teach them the right ways to
There's limitations.
There's limitations. There's boundaries. Just like you said with your son when he wanted to add whatever it was, Snapchat.
Yeah.
No, not doing it.
No.
There's no reason to.
No. And I think as adults, we have issues with social media. How do we think our kids and teenagers, 12, 13 years old, they can't handle that? We can't handle it.
You can't. Nobody can.
It's a beast.
But you gotta give them instructions. You gotta give them boundaries. You gotta give them limitations. And then that's it. And there's if a kid throws a fit because he can't have Snapchat, oh well.
Oh well.
Yeah, take the phone off him.
Yeah, and that, to me, I think that's what I admire the most about what you and Amy have developed. You guys have this ability to say to your kids at whatever point, this is the line we don't cross. Okay, we can go all the way up to the line, but we don't come across that line because there's going to be consequences when you come across that line.
Yeah, accountability.
Yes, and that's the word that I think we don't really hear enough about it. I don't care whether it's a professional athlete, an entertainer, a doctor, a plumber. Everybody's accountable.
Yep.
You know, my dad used to always say when I was a kid, hey, everybody's replaceable. And I didn't realize what he was talking about when I was like 12 or 13 years old. But in my 50s now, you realize that, yeah, everybody's replaceable.
Look at the Washington Nationals or the World Series. They just lost Bryce Harper, who was supposed to be the best player in the league.
Yes.
Everybody's replaceable.
Everybody's replaceable.
Life goes on.
Yes, and I think that's the message when we do our workshops at Championship Mindset. We talk about this. You're replaceable. Don't get to the point where you stop working on the character traits that allow you to embrace championship mindset, because you're going to get replaced.
Yep.
I don't care who you are. At some point, you're going to get a little full of yourself, and you came up in an era where there was none of this.
There was none of that.
There was none of that. You just played the game. You got your respect by the way you played the game. Now you got to teach your kids that, hey, act like you've been there before.
Yep. Be humble.
Yeah.
It's hard. You get the quiet confidence. It's a hard thing to teach.
Yes.
The craziness. But the thing is, there's so many bad examples out there, like with Antonio Brown, or and there's a lot. I mean, even with Ben Roethlisberger, where you could say that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
But then you watch Mahomes get interviewed,
yes.
or you watch Sidney Crosby get interviewed.
Deshaun Watson.
That's how you act.
Yes.
And I know, and Jordan is always going to be my favorite.
Yes.
But you watch him speak, and it was never like me. It was always we.
Yes.
And us and our teammates.
Yes.
But
you said it, quiet confidence. It's hard to teach it, but once you have that in place, now you can reach your full potential and you won't have all of this stress. I look at athletes and entertainers from the standpoint of most of that stuff is self-inflicted wounds. Yep. And you got, like Antonio Brown, to me, will always be an example because of what he did off the football field.
Here's $30 million. All you got to do is not be an idiot.
Yeah.
Just show up.
Just show up.
Not whatever happened. I don't even understand what happened with him.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that to me is a whole nother podcast, because to me, when you look at the definition of insanity, that's insanity.
It's not going to end well. It's going to be a bad end.
Oh my goodness gracious! It's a train wreck already.
He should have been headed for Canton.
Yes.
And should have just, who knows? There's a lot more we don't know.
How about this though? I talked to my son who's 14, maybe 3-4 years ago, and I said, "This is what's going to happen because of all the other things that aren't in place. If you don't have championship mindset, where you have acceptance, courage, and wisdom, passion, purpose, and pride, you don't have this buffer. There's no reality in your life." I said, Antonio Brown's going to have issues outside of football because of all this other stuff. And I kind of use that as a teachable moment in my workshops. You look at a guy like Aaron Donald. Okay, I know Aaron from the time Aaron was a young dude. His older brother played with my older son at Penn Hills. Archie was a beast. But I remember when their dad, Archie Sr., used to have them running up the hill at Homewood like 5 in the morning, getting ready to go to school and doing all these different things. And everybody thought he was crazy. I'm like, no, that man's he's doing what you're supposed to be doing. So now look at Aaron.
Yeah, he's best defensive player in the last 10, 15 years.
But it started at home. And I look at what you're doing with Donovan. I look at what you're doing with Tenley. I look at what you're doing with all of your kids, and it's like the blueprint is there. So you just got to kind of continue to follow that blueprint.
And adjust on the fly.
Yeah.
Like a good coach.
Like a good coach.
Yeah.
Like a good coach.
Life flies by. It's funny. And as we're talking about other things, I'm still flashing back to a million other.
Uh-huh.
Whether it's Joe Golden.
Yeah.
Or Brian Dapper.
Yeah.
Or Steve Specka.
Yeah. Yeah, Steve Specka. That's another one. The next time we get together, we're going to deal with the high school things that Chartiers Valley, Keystone Oaks,
C. LaSalle.
C. LaSalle.
Yeah, Canterman, like all your rivals.
Yes.
You went to CCD with one kid. You were friends with one kid.
Yes.
This kid took your girlfriend
yes.
from this school.
Yes. That, though, it built so much character. All the things that you went through. And I tell people all the time, if it doesn't kill you, it just makes you stronger.
Well, we didn't have AAU then.
No.
But you played with those kids in the summer at the park.
Right.
And you got a relationship with them, but there was a competitiveness, though, too.
Right.
You wanted to beat that kid from Canada. You know, you splow them up before the game.
Yeah, you want to beat them.
Beat them during the game.
Yes.
But now the AAU culture has sort of changed a little bit, where kids are all tight with each other, but they still want to beat each other. But I wish it was on the blacktop.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different animal. Ben, it's been a pleasure, man.
Pleasure's all mine.
It's been just fun to kind of catch up with you.
Sorry, it took a while to get to
listen, man. The thing that you know and I know about life, the pace is faster than Usain Bolt. And every time you step out of the bed in the morning, it just goes. You know, so you got kids, I got kids. You got things you do professionally, I got things I do business-wise. It's hard to connect.
But there's always time to do this.
Oh, yeah.
We could have done this over a grilled cheese sandwich.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's always time to do this. I mean, I appreciate you coming here. I know you had to do different things to work it out. It was just fun, man, to get caught up with you, man.
Definitely. Appreciate it.
Championship mindset.
Appreciate you.
Conversations on the road to greatness. We out.